Hello everyone and welcome back to Bobbin's Minecraft Let's Play series, this time featuring the FTB Infinity Skyblock mod pack. You're watching episode 16, and between episodes, which has actually been quite a long time this time, I have been doing some construction and some other stuff. Mostly I haven't been working on anything that I didn't mention before that I was going to do, but there has been a lot of elapsed time. One of the things that's going to happen in the near future is I'm not going to be turning out episodes quite as quickly because I have started a class at my local university here, and that means that I just don't have as much time right now. But I am going to still try to get one about every other day. So in this area right here, this is where I said I was going to go ahead and set up mass fabrication, and that's what I've done. At the moment there are 8 reactors feeding a mass fabricator and 2 more feeding a total of 32 recyclers. The recyclers are getting cobblestone from the other side of the network. It's being shipped over in quadruple compressed form so that it doesn't generate a lot of traffic on the logistics pipes network, and it's just coming over here and being recycled. Each one of these recyclers has 3 overclocker upgrades. So at the moment it's actually generating a slight surplus of scrap, which is good. And the scrap is coming over here into the mass fabricator, and it's actually generating mass at a pretty decent clip. Because it has been running for a while, I've got, looks like about 8.5 buckets of UU matter, which is a good start. You kind of have to be an optimist to do what I've done here, which is to put down a resonant portable tank down to hold the UU matter, but they're not that expensive at this point because I've got plenty of resources. So that's what's going on here. 8 reactors, lots of room for expansion still, so we're good there. The main topic I really want to discuss today is magic mods, and I'm going to start with Britannia, and then I'm just going to talk a little bit about what I've done, and then I'm going to sort of move on to Thaumcraft and set up a couple of things, and then I want to try to get started with witchery. So in this area, which has the bees and the Britannia, you may be noticing this green stuff. This is vivid grass. I have to say, one of the things I like about the vivid grass here is that you can plant flowers on it and you can plant trees on it, but it doesn't spawn animals. And if you have these forestry bees running over here, they don't automatically grow flowers on it. So you don't have to continuously clean up clutter from flowers, and you don't have to kill animals off all the time. And you still get a nice green surface that you can plant your Britannia flowers on, or you can grow trees on, or whatever. That's actually pretty nice from my point of view. The main thing that I've done over here in the Britannia area since the last time I showed this area was I have set up a runic altar, which is pretty cheap. It's just using the standard recipe, which is some of this living rock over either a mana pearl or a mana diamond, which you get by throwing an ender pearl or a diamond into a mana pool. And I've set it up with the same sort of stuff that I really always do with this block. Even before I made anything in it, I went and set up an open crate immediately above it with a lever on it and a hopper and a chest above it. And what this does for you is it allows you to load the materials for crafting something in the chest at the top, and then choose when to drop them by hitting the lever. This allows you to get everything sort of arranged the way you want it before you drop it down and craft the item, and it means you're not sitting there clicking things back and forth on your hotbar to try and get space to try and get stuff in this altar. It's just a little bit of a convenience. It's nowhere near what you would consider automated, but it is sort of a little bit of a start. I mean, you could at this point hook this up on the logistics pipe system, and as long as you were only making items one at a time, it would sort of work. You would still need something to click the wand of the forest onto the altar to get it to actually craft, but it is a start. I did go ahead and set up a bank of storage drawers over here, and I accumulated some supplies, including some mana steel, mana pearls, mana glass, mana diamonds, mana powder, and the 4 early runes. If we look at the runes, the 4 elemental ones that are the first ones you get, they have a recipe that's identical to the standard recipe except for the addition of a shard of the appropriate elemental type. So the water rune wants a water shard. The fire rune wants a fire shard. That's really all that's all that different in these. So they're not too different. If you go to the next tier of them, the seasonal runes, they require some progress because we've got to actually have imbued slate, which comes from blood magic, in order to make these, and we're quite a ways away from that. We also have to have the 3 different types of saplings from witchery, so I've got to get some of those. That means I have to make some progress in the other magic mods before I can continue to progress in Botania at this point. The Rune of Summer is very similar in that it requires one of these slates. Same thing for fall, and presumably the same thing for winter. On the others, the recipes are really pretty much the same. Spring does differ in specifically requiring the witchery saplings, whereas the default recipe, I believe, will take any sapling. If you go the next tier up beyond that, well, the Rune of Mana is part of Tier 1, and I haven't made one of those, but I've got to have a balanced shard for that. That's made in Thaumcraft. That's doable now. These others require an even higher tier slate from Blood Magic, so they're nowhere near close. So that is all that I've really got going on right now in Botania. I've just sort of gotten some materials out of the way. I'm not going to do any progress on camera with Botania because I really want to start progressing on some of the others. Let's come over here to the area where I've got Thaumcraft. Now, what I've done in this area... What the... Wow. Wasn't expecting that. I have no idea. Something over here isn't lit up properly, and so that guy was able to spawn here, but I don't see what it is. Well, anyway, I am going to temporarily put Witchery here on the Thaumcraft platform. I do have an idea where I'm going to move it eventually, but that platform hasn't even been built yet, and I've got some other stuff I've got to do first. So for the moment, I'm just going to set up Witchery over here. But before I can do that, I have to do something with Thaumcraft. So let's take a look at exactly what my sort of goal here is. If I want to get the Witch's Oven going, and let's see how we... It's kind of hard to see in any eye because it's got a dark color and it's usually on a dark background, but there it is. We've got to have the alchemical furnace from Thaumcraft, and we've got to have the mana steel ingots from Botania, and we've got to craft some stuff from Thaumcraft. This crafted stuff is not any big deal. I think I've already crafted some of it. Yeah, I've got some of it in this bank of drawers that I put over here. What I've done with Thaumcraft between episodes is really I went and arranged this a little nicer. I had previously done some research, so I got that done. There's no longer a fire under here, so I don't have to worry about things burning. I did go ahead and put some Nitor down there. I went so far as to construct a gold wand, and I've filled it up. The way I've been filling these wands is not from nodes. I've been filling them by killing mobs. That's actually pretty fast, and I'll probably stick with that for a while. I think that when I do finally get some nodes and bring them up here, I'll do them in the node in a jar and set them up here for purposes other than just filling wands. But if we look at the Thaumonomicon, at the research that I did, I have gotten node in a jar, node preserver, advanced node tapping. So I took that whole branch, except I didn't bother to get master node tapping because I'm not tapping any nodes right now. On the other branch over here, research expertise and research mastery, and then I didn't do anything else. On the thaumaturgy side, I researched what I needed for the gold greatwood wand. I also went, and since they weren't really costing me anything, I didn't have to sit there and play that little game. All I had to do was spend the points for it. I went and got all of these different kinds of wands, and the reason I did that is because they specifically say that they have slightly greater storage potential than greatwood cores. So if you make a wand from this, it should hold a little bit more vis, I guess, than the greatwood one. Can't do it until I get an infusion altar going, but that is going to be pretty soon, I think. Won't do it today. On the alchemy side, I just got the basic stuff that we really need to do. We're going to need thaumium, so I researched that. I had to do nitor and alumentum in order to get essentia distillation, which is what we're going to set up today for Thaumcraft. And I went ahead and got the tubes, although I don't know that I'm going to use them just yet. But I will need the jars. I think the jar came automatically when I researched essential distillation. I got the void jar. I've never used it. I just don't throw these things out. I make another jar and break the one that I've got and stick it away in a chest somewhere. On Artifice, I got the Goggles of Revealing, and I also went ahead and bought the Enchanted Fabric. The Enchanted Fabric is needed for doing any of the armor from Thaumcraft. I did go ahead and get the Infusion Altar. I researched it at least. It's not ready to produce, but I did research it. The thing on the Goggles of Revealing is that to make it, I've got to have this impregnated leather, which comes from witchery. So I actually have to make some progress in witchery to be able to make my Goggles of Revealing, which is what I'll need in order to find all of the nodes that are way down near the void level in this world. Beyond that, I don't think I researched too much on here. If we look at some of the other pages, really I just got the hungry chest on this page just to open things up. Didn't do anything with the railcraft related stuff. Here on the X-Astris, I did research the Greatwood and the Silverwood because I will want to make these saplings eventually. They're kind of expensive and require infusion, instability, danger, so I'll have to actually set up a lot of stuff around my altar to stabilize it before crafting those. Thaumic Tinkering, I don't know that I actually did any research on any of this stuff. Apocrypha, I didn't do any research on this one yet, I don't think. This Whisperweed might be nice because it will give you research points occasionally. I didn't do any of the Magic Bee stuff. Energistics. I will eventually need this in order to automate Thaumcraft crafting using applied energistics, but I'm so far away from applied energistics right now that it's really not even worth looking at. So I didn't get any of this right now. And really, I haven't gotten anything on any of the others either. I did get the shard rings because the discount can be convenient. They do give a very small discount on Vis when you're doing crafting from a wand. Means not having to go back and refill your wand, or in some cases actually being able to craft something that you otherwise wouldn't. So that was the research. Let's take a look specifically at, in the Alchemy tab, making the Arcane Workbench. For this I'm going to need a Crucible, and I'm going to need a Furnace, and I'm going to need 7 of the Arcane Stone blocks. And the stone blocks, at least, I've already got made. But let's go ahead and make a Crucible. So I need a Cauldron. And actually, I'm going to make an extra one. Because I think you also have to have this same block in the witch's oven. The alchemical furnace. Yes. Alright, so I've got a couple of cauldrons there. And we'll come back over here. And plop them down in the world. Just like that. Now I'll grab any wand out of here and tap them. There we go. So I have those. Now I need the furnaces. Let's get 2 of those. I probably should have pre-made these, but I didn't, so I guess we'll just do it the hard way. And there we go. Some of these chests just have spare stuff in them that I've requested or that that I want to keep handy. So it's a little cluttered. And then I need a bunch of these. That hopefully will be enough. And this one does not have enough in it. Let's just pick a different wand. It's nice to have lots of wands that you've got filled up. So I made 2 of those. Now one of these I'm just going to put away for the time being. I'll just take it and stuff it in here. The other one, I'm going to do something you should always do whenever you craft something with Thaumcraft you haven't done before, which is to scan it. So that got me some research points. You always want to do that before you forget it, so that you make sure that you did in fact grab those research points. Alright, so I'm just going to pop this down in the middle. Now for this thing to work, it requires fuel, and it breaks down some material containing essentia. The essentia just sort of accumulates in this bar over here on the side, and you've got to have alembics stacked up on top of it. You can stack up to 5, and the alembics will sort of filter out the stream of essentia from this thing up to 5 different types and store it up to 32 of each type in the alembic itself. So I need some alembics. Which are these things right here, and they require a Vis filter, which is the important piece, and a bunch of iron and buckets and gold ingots. So I'm going to get 5 buckets up here. I don't think this is used for crafting. It is for crafting the distillery, but I'm not ready to make that. I was going to see if it was needed for the oven, but it's not. Okay, so there's my buckets. And let's get some iron and some gold while I'm here. So I've got that. Now I've got to make this Vis filter, which requires gold and silver wood planks. Do I have any silver wood? Doesn't look like it. I made great wood, but I didn't make silver wood. So what I need to do for silver wood is... this is made in a crucible. Now eventually you can get it from trees, obviously. It requires 1 ordo, 1 precantatio, and 3 arbor per silver wood. What I'm going to use to get my precantatio and my ordo is wax. This is from Magic Bees. The magic wax has 2 of the precantatio and 1 of the ordo, and so this stack of 3 of them has a total of 6 and 3, so I need 3 more ordo to match that up, and I think I can do that with regular wax. But I don't see where I've got any handy. Let me come over here to where the bees are, because I've got tons of wax over here. I need 1 piece of it to completely balance it. Now for the arbor, that's just wood, and wood planks will contain it. So I'm going to need 6 wood planks, and now I will have equal amounts of all of these things. But I don't think I need equal amounts, do I? I need, let's take a look. I need 3 times as much arbor, so instead of 6, I need 18 on the wood planks. Let's see if that will do it. Yeah. And then the material that finishes this off, the catalyst that you toss in at the end, is going to be birchwood. And I'm making 6 total, so I'm going to need 6 of these. This is more than I will really need, but I'm just going to go ahead and make some extra just in case I need it at some point. Okay, I've set this same sort of setup above the crucible that I had above the runic altar. And the important thing to keep in mind on this one is that all of your materials that go into the crucible for the purpose of filling it with the aspects you need, they're just going to get broken down and destroyed when you toss them in the crucible. Those can be dropped in from here. So if I load this up with these items, that'll be fine. My birchwood, which is the catalyst at the end, last time I checked, I still needed to toss that in manually at the end of the process to actually trigger it. So that's what I'm going to do. When I flip the switch, the items will all drop in. They'll boil in the cauldron. There's plenty of water because I'm just automatically feeding it here. And once all that stuff has fallen in, I'll toss in my birchwood to make my silverwood. Now, the reason that I went and carefully counted out and balanced all of my aspects and the items that I'm going to throw in there is, as most of you will probably know, that if you leave extra materials in the cauldron, it will boil out and create this sort of flux stuff. And you can see some of it right here that's sort of trapped underneath the bottom of this from something I crafted previously where I had extra in there. A little bit of it, no big deal. I know that in previous versions of Thaumcraft, you could eventually create a tainted biome by just throwing stuff in there and letting it boil out. I haven't seen that anytime recently, but that's mostly just because I'm careful with it. It took a lot of it before, so I don't think you're in any real danger, but just be a little careful with it, and you won't have to clean up a mess. So let's flip the switch here, and it'll drop the stuff in. And it's finished dropping it in, so let's toss this in. There we go. We've got our 6 silverwood. And we're not going to need 6 of it, but we are going to need some. Now, that did not convert into planks automatically, did it? So how do I do that? It's got to go into mana infusion or a sawmill. And I wish I had a sawmill because that gives a whole lot more. Oh, I can use the arcane work table to get 4 of them. It's just going to take some V's to do it, but that's fine. So let's do that. And to finish my V's filter, I'm going to want 5 of these things total. That one doesn't have enough of what I need in it, so let's get a different one. Alright, so I've got 6 of those now. We're in good shape on that. Let's take and scan some of these. Alright. I'll just put all this extra material away. And with 5 of these, and a whole bunch of gold and iron and buckets, I should be able to make some of these. So, 5 of those, 5 of those, and there we go. Alright, and what you do with these is you just stack them up. Let's see if I can do that. There we go. Now, in order to break things down in here, what I prefer to do is to collect them all using glass files like that. And each one of these will hold 8 of an aspect. And what you want to do so that you don't get your equipment all cluttered with extra aspects that you've got to pipe out and do something with to clear it out, is you want to break things down 8 at a time. So if I come over here to water shards and I pull out 8 of them and bring them over here and pop them in, I'm going to need some fuel, and I don't seem to have any down here at the moment. Let's come over here and get some. I bet I have plenty of charcoal. Only 72,000. Alright, so let's just go ahead and fuel this, and it will start breaking down the water shard. And because it's a multiple of 8, what I'm going to end up with here is 16 aqua, 1 precanticio, and or 8 of them and 8 of the crystal thing. And I can just collect that from these arcane alembics. And I don't have the goggles of revealing, so it doesn't actually show me what's in there, but I know it's in there, and when it's completely exhausted here, then I will have it done. The key thing is to go ahead and do it 8 at a time, and then you can just collect them in these glass files, and you don't have to worry about exact counts on and emptying these things out and sending them directly through a piping system. I don't like the pipes in Thaumcraft. I find them very difficult to use without them getting clogged up, and I'm sure there's a trick to it. I've just never been very good at that particular type of piping. So, but that's what I do to get my aspects into the little jars. And you can just click on these on one of the bigger jars, one of these, the warded jars, if you need to fill up the warded jar. And so you just click it and you get 8 of the aspect in there. Alright, so if I want to make a witch's oven, let's go back over here and see what I need. I need the alchemical furnace, which I've got. I need a fire crystal cluster, which is 6 of the red crystals. And they get combined in this table because it does require some vis, I think. Maybe not. There we go. We've got the cluster. Alright, and I need 2 of the arcane stone blocks and 2 of these. I think I have that backwards. And then I just need iron bars, which I'm sure I've got upstairs over here. There we go. So this is a witchery recipe, which means that it will not most likely require any vis in order to craft it. Before I forget, let me scan this. Alright. And I guess I never scanned the arcane blocks. Alright. So I have a witch's oven. Good. And the first thing you do when you get a witch's oven is you want to make some clay jars, which I already have plenty of here, and load them up in there. Then we're going to get some charcoal, and we're going to smelt some saplings. And you've got to be able to smelt several different types of them. I'm going to go ahead and start with, I guess, the oak ones. I'm going to have to grow some more saplings. But really, this is the first step on witchery. This gets you your basic witchery materials. And so for now, until I grow some more saplings, I think we're okay on witchery. So I'm going to go ahead and call it an episode, and I will see you next episode. Thank you for watching.